Hey traders, a very warm welcome back. So in this video we are talking about the impact of leverage on your trades. Seems like an easy subject, right? But do you know what? I think a lot of these things are overlooked. So I want to dive into it and let's discuss it. Right, so the first thing is, these are my little guys that I've drawn on here. I'm not an artist, as you can tell. Luckily I'm better at trading than I am at drawing on the board. This guy here has got a stack on his shoulder. He's trying to lift this whole thing up. He's using a lot of leverage. This guy here, quite comfortable, still a decent weight on it. He's still using the power of the lever there rather than picking this up directly, but he's okay. He's doing okay. So my point is this: if you're using an excessive amount of leverage, however you want to pronounce it, who cares? We all know what it's all about. You are far too focused on price. In other words, you know, if it's magnified, if the position size is magnified by a vast amount. Now, some brokers are going to give you 100, 200, 500, 1,000 to 1 on your currency trading. Obviously, if you're stock trading, you're going to get less because it's restricted and what have you. But there is room, there's a rope there, and you can hang yourself with it if you're not careful. So let's look at it. So you're far too focused on price. If you're really leveraged up, and if you've got a small account but you've got it maximum, you know, full leverage, put full right to the floor, every little tick is going to be moving your percentage of your account much more, and that's going to make you like this, boom. You're going to be sitting there focused on price because every little tick is moving your account dramatically. 10 ticks in the account moves big. 50 ticks in the account might be wiped out or it might be doubled. You know, that's the point of thing that you don't want. And that's exactly what you don't want as a trader. You don't want to be focused on every single little aspect of price. It's irrelevant. It doesn't make any sense to do it. Okay, a caveat to that is if you're a tape reading guy and you're looking at, but you only look at your entry and your exit, then you're not watching it during the trade unless you're thinking of coming out. So even that, you're not even focused directly on price all the time. And actually, you shouldn't really be focused on the tick as such, you know, the movement as such. You should be focused on the structure and the patterns. But that's by the by. You're far too focused on price because you're very sensitive to small little movements and noise, guys. Noise. You know the market moves. You and I both know how the market moves. Even if it went up from, you know, low to high. Okay, let's just put yourself in a scenario here. You know, someone's gone time traveled and said, you know what, euro US dollar's going up 100 ticks today, 100 ticks, right? Even if you knew that, and if you had too much leverage, you could still end up losing money, right? Because, you know, things don't go up in a straight line. There's a bit of noise to them. They pull back a little bit sometimes. And even if a trend might have a little shudder. And if you're really loaded, you're fully loaded, the gears crank right up and you're fully leveraged up, you can get shaken out by that. You can literally have that little initial move. You lose all your money or you lose a lot of money. It makes no sense. So even in that unusual, never likely scenario, that you knew where it was going, the point is you can see how dangerous leverage can be. And you don't want to be, going back to the original point, you don't want to be as a trader price focused. Honestly, the best thing I ever did was just get rid of watching price while you're mid trade. It just doesn't make any sense. If you accept your risk, you say, hey, listen, this is my entry, this is my stop, this is my target, whatever it may be. Fine, it's in. Okay, I might have a reevaluate zone, something that I'm quite a fan of, where I might have a manual reevaluation. But ultimately, while it's kind of in the cruise and doing what it's going to do what it wants to do. You can't control it. There's no point in me watching every single tick. And if I'm watching every single tick, then something is wrong. It means that I'm too invested in that individual trade. And just to digress slightly, if we're too invested in each individual trade, it means that we haven't got our true bigger picture game in play, which is we want to make the right trade consistently, knowing that over time, that's going to do the best thing for our trading account. Okay, number 2, no room for error. Just like we talked about then, you know, even if you ultimately knew where the euro US dollar was going, you've got no room for it to be wrong. If you're slightly wrong and your leverage right up and the market kind of, you know, starts to push up, pulls down a little bit, or you time it wrong, you're a little bit early, you've got to have such a tight stop because it's such a magnified position that you're literally going to get stopped out on noise, as opposed to having your stop in the correct area, which is around the noise. Assuming the noise is kind of here, your stop is always going to be around the noise, following this bubble of noise around with price in the middle, if that makes any sense. So that's the things about, you know, using over leverage in your trades. And actually studies show that they went through a load of accounts I'm sure if you're sticking to Google, you'll find it. They went through loads of accounts of different brokers, and the people who are using least amount of leverage, were the ones who were making the most amount of money. So the guys with small accounts were ramping it right up, were just wiping out. They were kind of the statistic. Ultimately, you could predict straight away by the amount of money they were putting in the account versus their position size whether they're going to fail. A pretty common denominator. Smaller account size, big position, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose, and I would be betting good money on you losing. But the guys who are putting, even if they're putting a small amount of money, the fact that they were trading very, very, very small, had a much better chance of success. And it didn't come necessarily down to account size, it came down to how much leverage you were using. And also you're not over analyzing, pretty similar to this price focus thing, but you're not kind of, you're just, instead of executing the strategy and trade as you should be doing methodically and consistently part of the trading plan, you're overanalyzing. You're saying, well, I don't want to lose 500 quid on this one. I don't want to lose 5 grand, whatever level you're playing at. So I don't want to take it. Whereas in reality, you should be taking the trade regardless. If it fits all the criteria that you've got in your plan and your strategy and it comes up, then you should be taking it. And you should be accepting the risk on it. And if you're not, then there might be something. If you're frightened of loss, then the loss is too big. I always say if the loss is too big for you, then you need to dial down the position where you don't care about the loss, because you may have multiple instances of those losses in a row. And if you can't stomach that, then you're definitely trading too much size. So impact of that is, listen, guys, it's a useful tool, no doubt about it. We wouldn't have been able to make the money we have without having that leverage when we need it. But no, it's like knowing, it's like any tool, isn't it? If you use it correctly, it's great. It's very, very useful. If you use it wrong, you're going to hurt yourself with it. So just bearing in mind, be very cautious about that. Don't focus on the money and the gain of individual trades. Focus on doing the right thing consistently over time. That will benefit you far more as a trader. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up if you please. And don't forget to stick your comments below. Any comments are welcome. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, consider doing so for more videos from me and other traders. Have a great trading week. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.